Welcome to the Professional Development Consortium, July 2014. My name is Ann Collier, and I'm here to talk to you about how cognitive diversity affects your work. We grow up trying to fit in, thinking we should be the same, yet we think there's something different or wrong with us. We are different. You can see my little red-headed pigtails there. But so is everyone else from each other. When did you realize that you didn't fit into your family or your group? I was about 9 years old, or maybe even younger, when I realized that I was different from my family. It took me 30 years for me to figure out that I'm the only extrovert in a family of introverts. When I shared this with my sister, she said, "Yeah, I always knew you were different." Gee, thanks, Jen. We are different. I was different. I am different. But so is everybody else from each other. Tired of being surrounded by introverts, I went to law school and began my professional life at the IRS as a tax lawyer. Suffice it to say, I didn't fit in there either. I then joined a law firm, and then another law firm, but never fit in. So now that you've heard the story of my life, let's figure out what was going on. What's happening when someone doesn't fit in? What's happening is that and I bet many of you, experience cognitive diversity. We experience cognitive diversity all the time. We just don't always recognize it as such. In fact, we feel uncomfortable because we think it's us, or we're annoyed because we think it's them. And all that's really happening is that we're showing up to work, trying to solve problem A. You know, the reason that we're hired, the reason that you're here, and the reason that you're watching this video. Problem A is the task at hand. But what happens is that we run into problem B, which is the problem caused by cognitive diversity. That is, being different and thinking different. Let's take a deeper dive and see what cognitive diversity looks like and sounds like. It sounds like Amanda, who says, "I don't know what's wrong with Sam. He never follows protocols and he plays fast and loose with details and practicalities. Ugh!" Or it sounds like Ian. "Sam's never thought outside the box. He never even gets close to the edges of the box. We certainly didn't hire him for his great ideas." Whether we sound more like Amanda or more like Ian depends on our own hardwiring, which colors our view of the world. People who are wired differently look at the same situations and see them differently. So are you more like Amanda or more like Ian? Whether you can't stand colleagues who play fast and loose with the rules, as Amanda does, or as Amanda can't stand, or Ian, who's annoyed by failure to think outside the box, depends on your own hardwiring. An effective collaboration is based on successful management of this diversity. So effective collaboration is based on successful management of this cognitive diversity. And add change to the mix. All the changes in the legal market, all the changes in the economy, all the changes in technology, which all affect how we do our job. The only constant, in fact, is change. And we use our creativity to deal with this change, to solve the problems caused by this change. People have different approaches to change as a result of their hardwiring, including their preferences for how they solve problems and make decisions. And remember, everyone is creative, and you are creative. So to recap, you've got cognitive diversity, change all over the place, creativity, in fact, different styles of creativity. So how can we pull together? The key is to harness these differences so that we are all, in fact, pulling together. Whether someone truly wants to pull with you depends on a lot of factors, including your likability. So remember that when you speak, Whether you're likable, whether someone wants to pull with you, depends on not just your words, but your tone of voice and your body language. And remember, you can't fake it. We've all heard from someone that we're doing a great job, but we know they're thinking something else. And in fact, we've done this to other people. So how do you deal with this particular challenge? If you're Amanda or Ian or somewhere in the middle, how do you deal with this challenge of working together, all pulling in the same direction when you are in fact so very different? The key is to stay curious. Have a curious mindset. You might learn something. So even when you know the answer or think you know the answer, at the very least, you'll learn about your colleagues' concerns, understand their thinking better so that you can mentor them, or you'll just make them feel engaged and valued so that you can collaborate more effectively with them. So let's go back to change for a minute. Are you an advocate of change or a resistor of change? We all are advocates and we're all resistors. It just depends on the type of change that we advocate or resist. We like the changes that are our style of changes, and we dislike the changes that aren't the kind of changes that we like. The key here is understanding the paradox of structure. The paradox of structure is the seemingly incongruous fact that structure is both enabling of problem solving and limiting of problem solving. So take an example of this house. You've got a 3-bedroom ranch. You know where you're going to put the kitchen, the bathrooms, the family room. So it enables you to solve the problem of having a place to live in a particular way. On the other hand, you're limited. You're not building a McMansion or a townhouse or a set of condos unless you take down this structure. So in fact, the structure is also limiting of the number of solutions that you can come up with. So let's look at what this paradox of structure means for problem solving and where Amanda and Ian fall on this adaption-innovation continuum. So adaption-innovation theory addresses how individuals deal with this paradox of structure differently. Amanda, the adapter, the one that likes to make sure that the details are all taken care of and that rules and protocols are followed, she's more on the left side of the screen. She likes to use rules. She's actually more adaptive. She uses rules to solve the problems. Ian, on the other hand, he likes to think outside the box, wants to work with people who think outside the box, is kind of frustrated with Sam for not thinking outside the box. He's more innovative. What you've got here is the adaption-innovation continuum. You've got a span of about 100 points ranging from 45 to 145 with a mean of 95. So the population falls along this bell curve, is normally distributed. And the distribution or the continuum reflects not whether you're better at solving problems, but how you prefer to solve problems. Again, that more adaptive side on the left being about leveraging the rules, and the more innovative side being about solving problems notwithstanding the rules, or maybe even ignoring the rules. So let's think about this in the context of change. Are you an improver or a mold breaker? If you're more like Amanda, you're going to be more adaptive and seen as an improver of the current system. Because remember, you're wanting to leverage rules to make the system better and preserve the system, because the rules are important to you and that's how you solve problems. And you're willing to deal with the limitations that a set of rules or a structure delineates in problem solving. Ian, on the other hand, his style of problem solving and change is more that of a mold breaker. He likes things to be different. So he will solve the problem potentially by changing the rules. It's important to remember that neither being more adaptive or more innovative is better or worse. It's just the type of problem. So think about heart surgery. You really don't want your surgeon going on a flyer attaching arteries in a different way. So a more adaptive surgeon or perhaps a more adaptive process is what you want. Space travel, on the other hand, especially from the perspective of the 50s and the early 60s, that's definitely more innovative, thinking outside the box, doing things that had never been done. Let's take a deeper dive into what adaptation innovation theory really addresses. Adaptation innovation consists of three components: idea generation, methodology, and rule and group conformity. The idea generation component of adaptation innovation measures the degree to which one is free or cautious in idea generating situations. So Amanda, who's more adaptive, on that left side of the continuum, will likely have fewer ideas, but they'll be manageable, concrete, safe, and ready for immediate use. And in fact, because she's leveraging the rules, the structure, the system in place to solve problems, you're going to expect her ideas to work. Ian's style, being more innovative, on the other hand, his style is to produce many ideas. He's very free in producing these ideas. His ideas are often seen as exciting, sort of that blue sky. He'll tolerate a high failure rate because he's just trying to get the ideas out there. The second component of the adaptation innovation continuum is methodology. It's the degree to which we wish to have a method, structure, and process in place as we implement ideas and solutions. So Amanda, being more adaptive, because she again wants to leverage the rules to solve the problems, will be more precise, reliable, methodical, thorough. You'll expect her to pay attention to detail. And she'll welcome change as an improver. And she'll seek solutions in tried and tested ways. Ian, on the other hand, is more likely to think tangentially. He'll approach the problem from unsuspected angles and welcome change as a mold breaker. You'll also see Ian and people who are more innovative manipulate the problem, questioning its basic assumptions. The third component of the adaptation innovation continuum is the degree to which we feel the need to comply with rules and norms. So someone like Amanda, who's all about leveraging the rules, she'll want to maintain continuity, she'll be prudent with authority, and she'll solve the problems by using the rules. Challenge the rules, in fact, rarely and usually when supported by consensus. Ian, on the other hand, he's more likely to be a catalyst to settle groups and norms for change. His way of working will be seen as radical. He'll alter the rules to solve the problem as compared with leveraging the rules to solve the problems. You'll see people like Ian, who are more innovative, challenge rules, customs, and consensual views pretty regularly. Less prudent with authority as well. So we've looked at this adaptation innovation continuum. You remember there's a scale of 100 points. Everybody falls somewhere on that continuum. Every place is a good place to be on that continuum. But when does a gap between your score and another person make a difference? And what does this mean for working together? It's all perspective. Remember, how you see others depends on where you are on the spectrum. So if you're more like Amanda and you're at 45, looking at someone who's 95, they look like an innovator to you. And someone who's like Ian, maybe he looks like a little bit of a nutcase. On the other hand, looking from the perspective of Ian, who scores closer to 145, 90 people with scores of 95 look like an adapter. And boy, Amanda looks like she's in a deep rut over there at near 45. So let's explore how differences in points, because that's one of the benefits of actually using the Curtin Adaptation Innovation Inventory and the KAI. And that is that quite small differences, such as 10 points, which are measurable, obviously, are barely noticeable. So they can cause some tensions, but not as nearly as many as if you've got a moderate difference of about 20 points. So at 20 points, you've got some challenges, but the key is to value what the other person brings to the table. So if you remember the mindset slide, trying to understand it, because really this person has your back. And with even larger differences, 40 points or more, you really want to listen, because this will be a way of thinking that is very, very different from your own, and you're likely to learn something. Let's explore the different kinds of gaps. What kinds of gaps make a difference? Well, we've talked a little bit about the gaps between two people. Those can definitely make a difference in trying to work together. But also think about it in terms of there being a gap between you and the type of work you're having to do. You know, you show up at work and something's going on, there's a problem that needs to be solved that really lends itself to a very different style of problem solving than you prefer. It can lead to a lot of frustration. Let's look at the differences between one person and the team. Typically, that one person will either be someone that is highly regarded, whose opinion is valued, you've always got to run it by them as a last check, or people cycle through that position because the skill set that are required is not highly valued. Think about a gap between two teams. Think about marketing and accounting. The kind of problems they solve clearly require different skill sets. So then when they have to work together, because their problem solving styles are so different, there's friction. So what do? You can bridge the difference. So often a person in the middle, between two groups or between two people, can act as a bridge or a translator between the two groups and their goals and their needs. There's also coping. Now, we're all coping quite a bit. We've done this without even having a name for it. And the idea is that even if you're more like Amanda, can solve problems and use skills that come more easily to people like Ian, and people like Ian can solve problems and use skills that come more easily to someone like Amanda. The whole point is that we're not limited by our style. It's just that knowing it can allow us to make better choices about how we handle problems and to recognize when we're coping so that we can do it more effectively. So you probably have a good idea now about where you fall on the adaptation-innovation continuum. So what are your perceptions of people that are really different from you? And what do you value them for? I look forward to answering any questions that you might have, so please reach out to me. Bye.